Good evening, and welcome to our YouTube channel, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Tonight we have episode 6 of Mister Corbitt, with yours truly as the game master. Our recap tonight will be delivered once again by Jeff Wilkins. Jeff?
Thanks, Tom. Our last episode started off on a Wednesday morning with Lenore and Sebastian at Miskatonic University. They had just dropped off a sample of amber liquid for analysis. Sebastian considered going back to the police to talk to the detective again and try to set the record straight, but Lenore suggested he wait. They then decided to head back to the hospital morgue in search of Dr. Gregory's body. They traveled to the hospital morgue only to learn that, in fact, Dr. Gregory had willed his body to the university for scientific research. So they had to jump back in their car again and head back to the university. Back at William's house, William calls Clifford and tells him that he's going to go talk to Corbett. They knocked on Corbett's door, but Corbett had already left for work. He and Clifford then turn around and head over to Robert's house around noon. They sit down and talk about what they had seen the day before in regards to Dr. Gregory and his untimely demise. Not to mention the interviews with the police detective. William tells Robert and Clifford that he told the detective everything about breaking into Tomaszewski's home. As the three are speaking, they notice Corbett pull up in his car and mention it is highly unusual for him to arrive home at 12:30 in the afternoon. William and Robert head over to speak with Corbett, while Clifford decides to return to his home to develop some film from his camera. There was a chance that maybe Clifford captured Dr. Gregory on film breaking into Corbett's house, although later we learned that the photos did not capture anything. Robert and William are invited into Corbett's home to discuss what's been happening lately. William suggests that Dr. Gregory stole the research books, and Corbett agrees that it seems to be the case. We know out of character that Corbett willingly gave the books to Dr. Gregory. Corbett admits to speaking with the detective and telling him that Gregory tried to break into his greenhouse. Corbett offers William and Robert some tea and cookies. Corbett agrees to give William a 50-cent tour of the house and shows him the painting and the Bhagavad Gita book. William brings up the subject of Tomaszewski, who had fallen to his death the day before at the hospital. Corbett's attitude changes and he becomes agitated and distracted. He cuts the meeting short and ushers William and Robert out of his home. After this meeting, William is now more suspicious of Corbett. Back at the Miskatonic University, Sebastian and Lenore go to the morgue in the basement. They meet up with the professor that lets them see Dr. Gregory one last time to pay their final respects. The professor does note that there was something unusual in his blood test results. Apparently there were traces of opiates in Dr. Gregory's blood. Lenore tells the professor about the other sample that they had just brought into the chemistry lab earlier that morning. Lenore and Sebastian decide to return home. Francis joins William and Robert as they head back over to Clifford's house. As they enter Clifford's house, they notice that Corbett speeds off in his car in a direction that is opposite when he leaves for work. The pictures that Clifford took did not reveal any new clues. A new plan is hatched where they are going to poke around Corbett's house yet again. William volunteers to be a lookout, sitting in Robert's driveway in his car, while Francis, Clifford, and Robert go to investigate the greenhouse. Just as they're about to enter Corbett's property, they run into Lenore and Sebastian. They stop for idle chit-chat, then Lenore and Sebastian continue on their way to Dr. Gregory's house, where they plan on breaking in again. Back at Corbett's, Francis successfully picks the lock to the greenhouse, and they enter. They discover quite a few rare exotic flowers. On the far back wall is a series of beautiful purple flowers. There is also a pedestal with a golden statue on it that looks like a humanized Hindu bull figure. Clifford takes a few soil samples to be analyzed later. Francis almost lifts the statue but decides against it. Clifford notices something as he's leaving. It seems the purple flowers that are near the statue and Francis are all facing and pointing to where Francis was standing just a moment before. Francis heads off to the Miskatonic University to try and look up information on the Hindu statue. Clifford and Robert meet back up with William, and they agree that there are some strange things happening and that the group should get together and discuss what's next. That brings us up to date.
Excellent. So, let's see, we've got Lenore and oh my God.
Sebastian.
Sebastian heading over to Gregory's house. We've got, is it Francis heading towards the Miskatonic Library?
Yeah.
Look
Correct.
up the Hindu god.
Yep.
And Perry, William, or Robert, William, and Riley. What are you doing?
We had just gotten done from breaking into the greenhouse, and we kind of were just regrouping and trying to figure out what to do next.
Okay. Well, let's find out what you guys talk about first. If you're going to regroup, the three of you. We're back
So I
at your
guess-
house.
Yeah, so I guess Clifford, you were talking about seeing these crazy flowers.
Yeah, very, very strange. I haven't seen anything like it before.
And it wasn't so much that you actually saw them moving, but it was just that you noticed that it appears that they did move.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they had been facing in different directions when we first entered, and then they were all facing one direction.
Yeah, definitely weird.
Left. Yeah.
I know there's some plants that will react, like there's a mimosa plant, I think, where if you touch the leaves, they'll contract, but that sounds weird.
Yeah, it sounds kind of the opposite of that plant, because that sounds like it's a defense mechanism, whereas this wasn't necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we could head to the library also and catch up with Francis.
Yeah.
And, either help him look up the statue information, or maybe look up some more information on the flowers.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That'd be smart.
Okay. So you guys are going to head to the library also.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to Sebastian and Lenore.
Okay.
Yep.
So I imagine we're going to enter the same way we did before.
I would assume so.
All right.
Since you're the man, I'll let you climb through the window. You can let me through the front door.
Of course, it's my pleasure. If only I worked out more as a librarian. So yeah, I kind of go in the same way I did the first time and just kind of unlock the door again.
Okay. And then you both go inside.
All right.
Yep.
So what we're looking for is some sort of narcotic, some sort of opiate. So
any vials,
I'll-
any syringes.
yeah, I'll start in the kitchen.
I'll
Found him.
I'll start with his desk then.
Okay. So I'll go through like his drawers and cabinets.
Yeah.
Okay. How long are you going to spend in here doing this?
I give it a good look. So I would say about 15 minutes to a half hour.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right, you spend a half an hour in there looking around, and other than some heart medication from high blood pressure medication in his cabinet, you don't find any drugs of any kind.
Do I find his gun?
No, I don't think he carried a gun.
I thought he said he had his service pistol.
No, maybe he did. Okay. Yeah, in fact, you find a uniform nicely pressed in his closet, along with his suit and some other stuff, and his service revolver.
I take the service revolver. Interesting. Take a look, Lenore. I can hold the gun out. Don't I look? What?
You boys do your guns.
Oh, come on. It makes me look like a proud adventurer.
You know you don't have to overcompensate.
So much for your makeout session.
Years. Yeah, so, I kind of, I'll put that back,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's assume, you guys look around, you snoop around, and you don't really find anything of any great interest.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll head back to my house then.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I do. I don't know what else to do. So, there's some. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I will. You know what? I'll go. I will go to my house and I'll look through those books, the notes of Dr. Corbett again, to see if there's anything about any sort of barbiturates or anything like that. Any sort of narcotics or anything like that, like plants that could be.
Fair enough.
Basically, she's thinking that Gregory. I mean, if he had some sort of opiates in his system, maybe he was trying to grow them, and that's why he kept on hounding. I mean, it sounds like something a drug addict would do anyway.
True.
Constantly hounding Mister Corbitt about it. So maybe there was some sort of notes that he's stolen.
Yeah. Just a quick meta question. We were told his reaction about Tomaszowski. Is that correct?
I don't think that you had a chance to talk to them. You were going this way, and they were going that way.
We drove up to them before they broke in, and then we kind of let them, we passed by them. But I can't remember if they mentioned his reaction to Tomaszowski.
Jeff, Robert, did you guys talk to them about that?
I don't recall that.
I don't think you did. I think that you guys were kind of in a hurry for them to go that way and you to go that way.
Yeah, I don't remember them saying anything to us about that.
All right, fair enough. That might be just my own. That's why I asked. Okay. So I say, fair enough. I don't know what else. Well, looking through the notebook so well and good, and Gregory was good at botanics, so he would be able to make narcotics, but I mean, why would he assume that Corbett would have the exotic plants, the specific plants he needs?
I don't know. Well, he was constantly talking about fertilizer. So I don't know if Gregory tried to grow these things and had no success, and he sees Mr. Corbett's garden and seeing how well Mr. Corbitt keeps things up. So maybe he just wanted to steal the secrets. He kept on talking about secrets and things like that. So I'm not sure what he was up to, but
true.
He kept on, acting. The more I'm thinking about it, he kept on acting more or less like a user of some sort of narcotic.
No, I can't deny that, but I mean, think about it. We didn't see. Well, he wasn't.
Especially when he, accused you of trying to kill him. I mean, that's sort of an actions of somebody who's under some sort of drug or stress or something like that. So
that is fair enough, but still, I mean, if we look at his body, he wasn't having any sort of injections, and I don't think we saw any syringes of narcotics.
I don't think you have to particularly. I'm not.
No. You can swallow it, but at the same time, we haven't found a single trace of narcotics in his house besides his heart medication. So if he was such a drug user, I would think he would still have some narcotic or traces of it. I mean, I would assume.
Well, yeah, you have a point there. I don't know. But
I don't know either. But
I mean, I do want to maybe look back at the notes of Dr. Corbett to see if there's any sort of tie, just to cross all my T's and dot all my I's.
Fair enough. That would be a smart choice, a smart thing to do.
So can we assume, Lenore, that you're going to go back home and look through the notes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Sebastian, what are you going to do?
I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to kind of figure out what would Sebastian do in this case. That is a good question. Maybe.
Maybe
I want to.
Home.
Why not? I'll tell you what. Why not give the chemistry professor, a call to see if he's discovered anything new.
But
compound.
But hasn't it only been a day?
It's been a few hours. But I don't know. I mean.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Why don't I go with you and I'll try to look up anything about narcotics of any kind, or anything about exotic narcotics that maybe Indian plants could do. Since Mr. Corbitt must have some exotic plants from India, maybe I can see if there's any plants that Gregory wanted specifically.
Okay, so you're going to go to Lenore's house.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Let's jump back. Now let's jump to the library. Is that where we should go next? Clifford, what are you doing?
I'm going to research the purple plant since.
So you're at the library too?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to go to the library. Everybody's at the library except for Wayne, and for Lenore and Sebastian.
Yeah, we're in my private library.
Right, you're at your own private library. All right, so Corey, Francis, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I enter the library and I go up to the receptionist and I ask them, and I ask whoever is whoever's at the desk. I ask, "Hi, how are you doing today? I was wondering if you have where the books about Hindu gods are, or Hindu statues."
Well, the man behind the counter is an older man. You've seen him before here. He seems to be kind of in charge of everything, and he has a name tag that says Henry Armitage. He says, well, of course, we have quite a large, extensive library on Hinduism. You'll find it, and he directs you where to go to go looking in the Hinduism section.
And that's where I go.
Okay, so you head that direction. Go ahead and do a spot hidden. I'm sorry, library roll.
Okay.
Also, look for the Necronomicon when they're there.
No, we kept that in the back.
Okay, give me a second here. Okay. I fail.
Okay. What you discover is that the Hindus have more gods than they have people in India. And identifying the exact one would be quite difficult. They're also depicted often quite differently, just depending on the artist that depicted them. So you don't really see anything that looks like a bull-headed guy dancing with his junk hanging out.
That's just Burning Man.
Yeah, they don't have that yet.
Okay.
Okay, next researcher. Well, I'm just going to go the line to the way you're lined up on my screen. Robert.
I guess I'll probably still be with Clifford, so I'll probably tag along with him. And
Okay, you guys are going to do some research. What are you going to research?
I'm going to look into exotic plants, because I'm assuming that's what it would be, since it was in the greenhouse where it was set up with the humidifier and all that stuff. So.
Okay. Go ahead and do a library roll.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
The entire bookshelf falls over on you.
You discover something very similar to what Francis discovered. There are hundreds of millions of species of plants, and trying to identify them by looking in a book is very nearly impossible.
Start with the gods that have their junks hanging out.
You do find references to some of the things that you might have seen in the greenhouse that are listed as insectivorous, that they eat insects in order to because they grow in low nitrogen soils or in trees, and they just need something to supplement the nitrogen. So they've developed the ability to eat insects. The most famous one being the Venus flytrap.
okay.
Actually, it's Venus's flytrap, but And that's actually from North Carolina. So
Oh, go figure.
Interesting.
the swamps. But other than that, you don't find anything particular about a purple flower or movement in plants seems very, other than the Venus flytrap, and you do find Mimosa sensitiva, the sensitive plant, which folds itself up when you touch it as a defense mechanism. It's actually covered in thorns, and you don't see the thorns until the leaves all drop, and then it's all thorns.
Okay.
I unfortunately used to grow all these things, so I know all about them.
Yeah.
In Jamaica, they surround the prisons with that stuff because if somebody jumps over the fence and runs from the prison, all of the plants where they've run completely collapse, so they know exactly where they've gone.
Nice.
Wow.
This is why you should bring the 2 former librarians to research.
All right, Jeff, what are you looking for? Same thing, or
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
all right, go ahead and do a library roll.
32. Hey, I passed. I have a 50.
What you find is really interesting. You find that there are references to man-eating plants, but none of them have ever been confirmed. Most of them come from Africa and South America. The idea that there could be vines or trees, but then again, it might all just be pulp fiction. It's never actually there are woodcuts of them and things like that, but nothing's ever been identified.
And you called Sebastian crazy.
That's a little closer. Okay, now back to Sebastian and Lenore in their library.
Yes.
And what are you looking up?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully go through Mr. Corbitt's notes.
Okay. Now,
So I know there's a lot of this, you were saying a lot of this botanical, but that's exactly what I'm looking for now, like any sort of like opiates or something, like opium actually, and how,
Okay.
if he has anything on that.
You know.
how's your biology? Do you have a biology roll or
No, just chemistry.
chemistry? Go ahead and do a chemistry roll for me.
I'm eating a cookie and trying to look at Lenore's sister every now and then.
And I failed that one.
Okay. Mr. Corbett has, in many cases, used standard chemistry symbology, but he's also made up a whole bunch of it himself, which he's sort of, you'd almost say that he's encoded his notes, but it may just be that there are things that he didn't know how to express like a chemist would,
Mhm.
and so he sort of has made up his own notation. So you find it pretty much indecipherable.
Okay. Mhm.
And Sebastian, what are you researching?
Well, again, I was thinking that I'd probably like cross notes with Lenore, like with plants, perhaps, some exotic plants, while looking at Corbett's notes as well, just trying to see like what exotic plants could be used to say make opiates and as well.
Do a library roll.
Sure. One sec. Library use is 85. Oop. You guys see that?
No, because we can't see any. Your screen doesn't show up.
Oh, well, I got a 72.
And what is it? So you just made it.
Yeah.
Almost all hallucinogens and opiates are plant derived. The two major ones being the opium poppy and the coca plant, the cocaine, where cocaine comes from.
Yeah.
There are some minor ones like marijuana, which produce. I'm not sure that was even popular yet, or if people even knew what that was in the 1920s.
I think so.
It's possible
Yeah.
they did.
Peyote.
But yeah, see, they wouldn't have known what peyote was yet. I mean, if you were in Mexico, you probably would, but if you were out studying with the Indian tribes and in certain places in Arizona, maybe you would. But
So nothing like very exotic, say from India. Like is there anything?
There's nothing particularly mentioned. One of the most potent hallucinogens is a mushroom, psilocybe, which produces very vivid hallucinations. But that's a small, an LBM, a little brown mushroom that grows on cow dung.
Yeah. Okay. Then how about this? Is there any way I could find out some exotic hallucinogens, not plants used to make hallucinogens, but say exotic hallucinogens that maybe aren't that known?
If they're not known, then they're not in the books.
Yeah, I know. That is. Yeah, no, that's fair. Damn it. Can I roll pulp novels to see if any pulp novels?
You find an ancient Chinese scroll with recipes for how to make unknown. Yeah.
Yes. Damn it.
No,
so,
you don't find anything conclusive.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like frustrated. I'm like, I feel worthless. There's nothing here.
Well, my collection here is limited. Perhaps we should head over to Miskatonic and check the library out there.
That would be a wise idea. But still, do you think there's anything more we can find out? Or perhaps, do you think there would be... Well, here's an idea. If we're going to Miskatonic University, would there be someone there in chemist... Or could we ask the chemist to see if he could take a look at Mr. Corbitt's notebooks?
Sure. I'll bring them along.
Of course.
All right.
And then I asked my sister, hey, do you want to come with us? And, of course, she's like, absolutely. And she snuggles up right next to Sebastian.
Yes. Front seat all the way, my dear. Oh, yeah.
All right, so you're going to head towards the Miskatonic, too. So, can we guess that you all see each other at the library? Oh, you guys are going to go to the chemist. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the guys at the library.
Yes.
And let's see, we started around 2 o'clock. Let's say this has taken a couple of hours of research because you really had to look through things.
Yes.
So what are you going to do now? Are you guys getting tired of researching? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to give up and go home?
Can I do? When can I retry the library roll again?
It's been a couple hours. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm still gonna search and see what happens.
Well, now what are you searching on now?
I'm just gonna.
Need something more specific, because you've already discovered that there's a million gods, and.
Yeah, come back to me and I'll think of.
All right, we'll come back to you in a second. Robert.
I'm kind of stuck too. I guess unless there's any way I can help Corey out. Sorry, Francis.
Okay. Anybody?
Bueller.
I'm gonna go to the chemist to get the soil. Or who would I go to get the soil looked at?
Probably a chemist who could analyze the soil sample.
Okay, then that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Well, while you guys are in the library figuring out what you want to research next, Clifford heads up towards the chemist. On the way to the chemist, he meets Lenore and Sebastian heading to the same chemist. And I believe that's Neil Turner?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So you come to his lab, and his door is open.
So I knock on the side and go, "Hiddly ho."
And he's behind his desk, but he was writing something up. He's like, yes. It's you.
Yes, it's me, Sebastian Carter, and my compatriot Lenora Clark. Yes. We were stopping by because we actually found something quite more interesting actually recently.
I handle the books.
What is that? Oh.
Yeah. Recently, we found actually some notebooks that might pertain more to chemistry and into perhaps giving us a clue into the opiates, and we figured it might aid you or us into discovering more of that.
Where did you get these books?
Our compatriot. He sadly passed away, and we found these in his possession.
Oh, well, let me take a look at them.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I wasn't really able to make any headway on that stuff that you gave me. It's definitely plant-based, but I can't identify what plants it came from.
Odd.
There's part of it that I was able to identify. I think I identified it as deadly nightshade, and possibly something akin to the potato plant. But some of the substances just beyond. I've never seen anything like it before. I'm not even sure that it's a biologic.
Wow.
Something else.
Jeez.
Anyways, let me take a look at these.
Yes.
He opens them up.
Yeah. I give I'm kind of saying those ingredients that you found would they be found locally?
Well, I don't know what they are.
But you said for the ones you do know, like nightshade or...
Oh, deadly nightshade, things like that. Those are weeds. You can find them growing
all over the place. Okay.
Let's see. Well, this is a rather strange notation.
Yeah, she was a curious fellow.
Wow. It all looks like it looks like botanical chemistry, but there's a lot of this here that I don't understand what he's written. It's in a notation that I've never seen before.
But is there anything else you can understand about it? Or glean from it?
Let's see. Looks like he's balancing things here in order to make what looks like a fertilizer. Well, he flips through it, and as he's flipping through, he takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and he says, everything here looks like it's probably based on fertilizer recipes of some sort.
Mm.
He's got fish emulsion in here. I see that. Potassium, potash, nitrogen levels. Yeah, this is all fertilizer.
We thought it might lend a better clue.
I don't know what the whole of it is, but most of this is fertilizer.
I see. It's just for the fact we thought it might lend a clue. We're sorry. But that's another dead end for us.
Yeah.
Did Clifford have a question?
Yes. I pull out the sample.
Okay. Soil sample.
Yeah.
Clifford's here now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's I didn't see you there, Clifford.
I told you, he met you in the hallway and you all walked in together.
He was enthralled by my sister.
Yes. Yes.
So you want me to analyze this soil sample, huh?
Yes,
what are you expecting to find in it? Anything at all?
I'm just curious. My garden hasn't been growing well lately, and I just wanted to see if this soil...
This will take me about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Sure. I will get us some coffee going. Is there a coffee maker?
Yeah, down the hall.
All right. I'll get us some coffee. Sissy? Right this way.
So we'll just skip that and say that after 20 minutes he comes back and he's like, it's just basically soil. It's got a good level of nitrogen and oxygen and looks like it would be a nice, rich, organic soil,
Okay.
but doesn't look unusual at all.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'm just horrible at growing things.
Okay.
Yes. So I come back with the coffee. My tie slightly loosened.
No, but we assume that you already did that. I
Yes.
just skipped ahead 50.
Yes.
20 minutes,
All right. So okay. Anyway, serious stuff. So Clifford, why are you here? And why were you getting dirt analyzed?
Like I said,
Well, gentlemen, let's walk towards the library.
Oh yes. Yes. Let's go. So
like I said, I haven't been able to grow anything in my yard and wanted to know if it was something soil related or if I was just really, really bad at growing things.
if I remember correctly, you didn't have a garden.
Exactly.
Like, I kind of go. It's like, so you were desperate enough to go to a chemist to get dirt analyzed.
Yep.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
What were you planning on growing?
Tomatoes,
Potatoes?
mostly.
Oh, why didn't you just let Mr. Corbitt give you some?
Because I wanted to try a new skill. I needed something to fill up my time besides photography.
Yeah.
So I thought I would try my hand at.
Sure. We're heading off to the library. I'm guessing you want to go home.
Yeah.
Head to
yeah,
the
I'm
garden.
kind of tired.
All right. So we're just gonna head over to the library. Do some research. Yeah.
Okay, so you all meet up at the library. The others are still there trying to do some research.
So Clifford didn't go home.
I think I figure out what I want to research.
All right, what are you researching?
What was the area in that he went to what area in India was Mister Corbitt at? Like, was he
Nepal.
visiting? I would like to research Nepal area gods or gods originating from that area. Maybe that's going to give me the thing I need to figure out.
Nepal has both Hindu and Buddhist religion, and it's Tibetan Buddhism, and there's millions of gods. So, God for every aspect of anything that you can think of.
Okay. So
It's just as maybe they're more colorfully painted, but yeah, there's just way too much. Actually, go ahead and make me a library roll, just in case you get lucky.
Okay. Oh. And I make it 14, and that's
14. All right, so you're getting very frustrated, and you're turning pages, and you're looking at illustrations of drawings and gods and deities and the whole mythology, and you flip the page, and there on the page is this bull-headed dancing god. You're not quite sure that's a bull's head. You're not absolutely sure that it's the same god because it's all in blue instead of in gold. And the identification is Yama, the god of death.
Is Robert near me, or is
You're all nearby? Yeah.
I go up to you, Robert, and I say, "Hey, Robert, you should come look at this."
What do you got? You found something?
I found something. I was frustrated, but I found some, and I show him this picture of the god of death.
Right. At the best, you would guess you have about an 85% chance that it's the same deity. There's just so many variations in the artwork that it's hard to tell. But looks a lot like it.
What is all? Is there any more information on like?
I don't really have any more information. Death is not viewed quite the same way that we do in the West. So it's more like the Hindus believe that when you die, you get reincarnated and you come back. So death is a transition. It's the god takes you from one existence to the next. It's not considered an evil or a bad thing. It's just he's the one in charge of the transition between life and the next life. So he's kind of scary, but that's also one of those things that's subjective, because they don't see that as, the fangs and the teeth and the horns as a scary thing. They see that almost as a sacred thing. So
Yeah.
otherwise, you could read whole volumes on Hindu deities and how they all relate.
So I'm gonna
You do find references that a lot of the stories are told in two books. Three different sets, which is the Bhagavad Gita, which you've already seen, the Mahabharata, and the Vedas. That's where you get a lot of their mythology from.
So I'm gonna
And they're
ask
all big volumes.
I'm gonna
What's
ask the $1,000,000 question. Why are we looking this up?
Yeah, so we're kind of walking in here, right?
Yeah, we walk in and we see him researching it, and hear him say, "Oh, I found something."
Mm.
So I'm curious.
Yes. What's this sudden interest in Hindu gods about?
Well, I just would like to do information because of what Mr. Corbitt had.
I shake my head and I go, and I kind of go and like whisper, it's like, did you break into Mr. Corbitt's house again?
No.
In the spirit of William, who's not here right now, he would probably just be busting to just say, yes, we broke into his greenhouse.
Yeah, I have to agree. William would just say, yes, we did. We broke into his greenhouse.
Yes, it's like, Jesus.
But you would be clear to say that he didn't break in. He.
Yes, very, very good, William. Yes.
So
what did you find then?
Plants, and also a statue of this, or I think it's close to it. And I show him the picture of.
That's interesting. Was this plant was the statue connected to any of the plants or anything? Like where did you find it?
It was on a pedestal in the greenhouse.
Yeah. Anything? But was there anything more? Is there anything more to it than that? I mean, plants around it specifically. Anything?
Oh, there was these purple plants, but they were
interesting.
So
I wonder. I wonder. Tom, is there any possible way I can look up a connection to those purple plants, those flowers?
Well, we haven't actually seen them, so.
Yeah, I know, but I'm going off what they're telling me. Like they're saying.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the botany section of the library and pull out a few books.
Now, here's the thing. You guys are with the group now, and when you mention your intentions, somebody's already done that and found that there's no way to identify.
Okay.
So they'd probably just say, don't waste your time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you said there's stories about this god, right? So, and they mentioned these purple plants. I'm thinking, is there any kind of story with this god and purple plants of any kind?
You can do a library roll.
That's what I want to do.
All right, do a library roll.
I'll also help if you do well.
Oh, 5!
Oh, well, never mind.
No.
Damn it.
And you spend an hour doing that, so.
Damn it.
Can we say it's probably about 5 o'clock now?
Yeah.
Fair enough. And so I'm like, well, this is a bust. Well,
I'm getting hungry.
clearly the stats
for me for dinner.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yes. Well, I think that Mr. Corbitt. Geez. Well, clearly this. I don't think there's much to the statue that we can glean from. But that does beg the question: why would Mr. Corbitt have a statue of death? Why in the greenhouse?
Well, here's the thing about Mr. Corbitt. From what I'm understanding, he spent time in India. He enjoys the culture. As we can see when we first went into his house, he had some artifacts. I see why not,
No, I understand artifact, but I mean, like the book you brought me, I can understand him reading a passage of death, but then he's also have a statue of a god of death in his greenhouse. It just seems an odd placement.
Well, no. I mean, their beliefs is that, you get reincarnated, and maybe that's his whole thing. Like, he's a gardener. He might recycle weeds or dead plants, and there might be that life energy that gets reincarnated into the soil that helps his plants grow. And maybe the god helps it out. Who knows?
Yes, but at the same time, you said he was looking at that passage. I mean, that seems kind of coincidental.
Well, I mean, some people, look at some of the Christians. Some people have crosses hanging up on their walls and having, passages in the Bible.
Yes.
That's their religion.
Regardless. Oh, very well. Okay. So I kind of go on like, well, gentlemen, you spoke to Mr. Corbitt, didn't you?
Yes, we did. It was just William and I.
Yeah. Yes. Did you by any chance mention Tomaszowski to him?
Yep, we did. We were having a nice conversation, and as soon as William brought his name up, he immediately kind of closed down and kind of basically just booted us out.
So he was distressed when you mentioned Tomaszowski.
Definitely, yes.
Tomaszowski was very distressed when we started questioning him, and some of the questions Gregory asked were quite connected to Corbett.
To Corbett?
I kind of like, let's try to get in a more private area. So is there like a back of the library that no one can bother us?
We're in the
There are conference rooms in the back that are empty.
Yeah, so we'll take one of those.
We're in the botanical section. Nobody goes to the botanical.
Yeah, yes. Anyways, so, I kind of go on like, so when I was with Gregory, he told me some information that he discovered while looking up the nursemaid of Mr. Corbitt. And, she had a stroke. But here's the interesting thing. She woke up, only for a brief moment, and her words were, "It had no face."
I think you've gone all over that with them before.
I'm explaining what my...
All right. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, and Gregory said that would be impossible of some kind. But also, what's more, is that when he brought up a faceless child to Mr. Tomaszowski, he panicked, and he ran and died. But here's where the connection goes even further. Now we've discovered that Tomaszowski had fruit from Mr. Corbitt and an opiate, and now our friend Gregory died, possibly due to an opiate.
Yeah, definitely, that makes sense.
Yes, I think. But here's the thing: Tomaszowski was the man who did the dirty work, the wet work of the hospital. And you said you saw Mr. Corbett with a hand, didn't you?
I believe so.
Would it be impossible that Tomaszowski was the one who gave him the hand? If a man like that does the heavy work, the blood, the guts, everything, how hard would it be for him to get a hand out?
Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
And we didn't see any opiates in Gregory, and I don't think Gregory was an opiate taker. He's far from it. I mean, he had heart medication, didn't he?
He did.
So if taking a hallucinogen, wouldn't that danger his life, especially with heart medication at his heart?
Yeah, it will increase your heart rate.
Yeah.
And,
Yes. So then I don't think Gregory would have taken the hallucinogen willingly.
But you said that, I mean, as we've seen when we went over his body, there was no... And she stops for a minute, and she goes out. And instead of looking at botanical the botanical portion of the library. She wants to look at like maybe some sort of fauna of India. See if there's any sort of like bugs or reptiles that secrete like a type of narcotic venom. She's thinking of something like they have down in South America, like the poison dart frogs.
Poison dart frogs, right. Go ahead and do a library roll. I mean, each time you do this, you got to do some research. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of keep talking. So I'm like, so.
I got a 66. I passed that.
All right.
Okay. You don't find anything that's conclusive.
Okay.
So Sebastian, you pretty much danced around it, but you haven't actually said it. Are you insinuating that Corbett murdered?
I'm getting to that, but here's the question. We know that Gregory broke in once. There's one instance that he got caught, correct? And, I mean, would he break a second time would be the question, but the question is, you all broke into the house yourselves. Mm-hmm. And this was after, Gregory did it. So, did you leave a trace behind of anything that you broke in?
Well, I didn't. I made sure I did not leave any trace.
Well, unless you count the broken lockpick.
Wow.
Then okay. So then, would it be? So then clearly, you left behind a trace, and then Gregory died shortly after with the books in his house, but. I don't know. Something tells me that he wouldn't have broken in a second time. I think that perhaps Corbett thought that Gregory broke into his house because of your effort. And he was eliminated using this hallucinogen to cause him to have a heart attack. And an exotic. This is an exotic hallucinogen. And you say he has plants in his house. Exotic plants.
Well, there's only. I'll tell you what. There's a way that we can test this theory. I mean, if we're trying to tie everything together, we did get that the vial of that elixir that we had being analyzed. Perhaps if one of us were to actually touch it or see if it absorbs through the skin.
But that elixir could cause us to have a heart attack as well.
Well, I imagine that Gregory, due to his age and his heart problems, maybe that caused the heart attack.
Regardless of that, I mean, the coincidences are pretty astounding. An exotic, this drug, this Satanist, has access to a drug that can't be identified with things that seem highly organic. Where does a man get something like that? And Mr. Corbitt has expertise in chemistry. He's a doctor. So the question remains, so I think he'd be capable of making a drug. He's a chemist, isn't he?
He's a botanist.
But his notes are written in chemical formulas.
Well, sort of. That's why I couldn't decipher it as well as
we took it to a chemist to get analyzed, and he himself could analyze.
Yeah, which means that it might not be completely chemical. It might be something else.
But even this chemical that we have isn't perhaps completely plant or organic or anything. It's simply an exotic elixir.
Well, how about we do have access to a lab. How about we take some of that elixir, look for maybe or see if we can get a hold of a lab rat or something like that, and feed it to the lab rat to see what happens.
Jeez, I don't know, gentlemen.
How do you tell if a lab rat is hallucinating?
It will squeak very loudly.
It goes meow meow.
Yes, its eyes open up wide.
Well, I'm no scientist, but I imagine that you can see the rat actually react differently.
Yeah, but regardless, my theory, there's too many coincidences. There's too many connections that we can make
Yeah, well,
Why
in
would
order to
Corbett be
be in order to be conclusive, we need proof. And in
yes,
order for
exactly.
us to do that, so I say we take a trip back to the chemistry lab. I know the professor there is going to be kind of sick of us,
Yes.
but perhaps we can get a hold of a lab rat or something like that and test it, see what type of effects it has.
I'm okay with that.
Fair enough, but then if the rat has a heart attack, then we can maybe say that's how Gregory was murdered, or if
Yeah,
he was murdered at
I
all.
mean, if it doesn't, then it may not have these connections. May not be.
But regardless, even if it doesn't give him a heart attack, remember you're testing it on a rat, not a human being. The results can be completely drastically different.
Yes, and well, for the most part, we use lab rats to test other chemicals to.
And not to mention, you did say he was old. The chemical might not cause heart attacks, but Mr. Corbitt used it in order to cause him to have a heart attack.
Well, before we start slinging accusations towards him, let's at least get some sort of hard evidence.
Fair enough, fair enough. Gentlemen,
How old
care
are
to
you,
follow?
Sebastian?
What?
How old are you, Sebastian?
I am 20-ish. Let's say 25.
You're in pretty good shape.
I guess so.
I know where this is going.
Yes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you insinuating there, Robert?
Well, I mean, would you be willing?
You're asking me to put an unknown chemical into my body with effects we do not know.
It's
that-
in the name of science, though.
But
Well,
then,
the first thing we're going to do is we're not even going to inject it. We're going to place it on. First, we're going to try it out with the rats. We'll place it on the rat itself to see if it absorbs through the skin. And if not, then we'll inject it and see what happens. And if it does anything to the rat, then we'll have some sort of proof. If you want to go ahead and try it on yourself, first thing I would say is let it try to absorb through the skin. If nothing happens, then
But for all we know, this drug can be completely addicting, and then after one of us takes it, we'll be obsessed about it.
Just thought I'd ask.
I thought you were an adventurer. What
I
happened to
think
your
I
adventurous
think
spirit?
that's a good idea. Sebastian, you should try that. You should definitely.
Why don't you try? You're French. Perhaps you'd be a
I'm
better
actually
test
not
subject.
sure either whether addiction is really something that people thought about back then, considering
Oh.
all the things that people were taking.
True. Yeah.
If you try it, I'll try some on myself too.
Why don't you try it and I'll try it after you try it?
Well, I think Lenore's right. Let's see if we can get a rat
Yeah.
and see if we can get
Yeah.
some good results from that.
Yeah. To the science lab. Da-da-da-da.
Do you guys still have the Corbett's books on you?
Yes, we do.
Tom, could I open the book and tell if those symbols are in fact chemistry or occult symbols?
Yeah, you have an occult roll?
I do.
Yeah, you can do a roll.
Okay.
I'm gonna use the bathroom really quick. Be right back.
All right.
Just barely passed.
Okay. They don't look like occult. They look like almost like an alien language.
Okay.
I don't want to mislead you by saying that. He's just a lot of scientists have to make up new
Right.
symbology
I just was
because
thinking, well, maybe if the chemists didn't recognize it, maybe they were
you see a lot of Greek. You see a lot of Greek letters, and a lot of odd letters with like a squiggle below and a line across the top. There's a lot of those, but you don't know what they mean. So you guys are heading upstairs. Well, what you begin to realize as you're heading back up towards the offices is everything's changed. The offices are all closed now. It's past 5 o'clock. You see offices that were open before are all dark inside. The hallway's still lit, but when you get to the chemistry office, Dr.
right.
Neal has already gone home.
Also, I believe William wanted to try the drug.
Okay, well, I was just telling him then that as you guys make your ways back up to the labs, the hallways are still lit, but the labs are all dark. It's past 5 o'clock. People have gone home.
I see.
Yeah, I totally lost track of time.
Yes. I see.
Want to try this tomorrow then?
Well, it would be a good good as any idea, I suppose.
Okay. So you can all go home or go to Robert's or...
Well, hold on, Lenore. You and me said we wanted to return the notebooks to Mr. Corbitt.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
Yes, well,
You
let's
should
do
be done
that.
by then.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. And the rest of you?
I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, I'll probably go home and eat my dinner.
I'm gonna go home.
Francis, you probably have to go home and get ready to go to the club tonight.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Okay, so we'll assume that those of you who go home, go home. Lenore and Sebastian.
And Sissy.
And Sissy.
And Sissy.
Yeah.
All right. So what you guys going to head over to Corbett's house?
Yeah.
Sure.
His car has returned.
Oh, I guess he's home. So we kind of...
it's probably about 6 o'clock.
All right, so let's make this quick. I'm sure he wants to go to bed or something.
It's 6
6
o'clock.
o'clock. It's still light out. It's summer.
All right. Very well. So I knock. Knock. Dun 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 dun.
Okay. After a couple of seconds, you hear footsteps coming to the door, and the door opens, and he's like, "Oh, Sebastian, Lenore, what can I do for you?"
Oh, hello, Sebastian. Sorry. What's his first name again?
Bernard.
Oh yeah. Hello, Bernard.
And we wanted to return something that belongs to you. I believe that Dr. Hall, he acquired these from your premises.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We took the effort into getting them back for you.
Come inside. What did you do? Sneak into his house and get them?
I climbed through the window, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
When we discovered the body, we discovered that he had all these notebooks, and we I mean, you have to excuse us, but we looked through them. And we found that it was your penmanship. So we put two and two together. He probably broke into your house. You being obsessed with botany and everything, broke into your house, stole your notebooks. So
Why don't you come inside? Come on inside.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think this is the first time I've been to your house.
Oh, everybody says that. I've had a lot of people in my house lately, it seems.
Well,
I guess I should have invited you over at least before now, but
yeah, well,
have a seat on the couch.
Yeah, but
how'd you like the apple pie? You never told me.
Oh, it's delicious. I need to return that to you. Hold on just a second.
Yeah. Well, again,
you see him sort of take his notebooks and put them under his arm, and he walks through and into the kitchen.
Yeah,
so then, as he's doing that, I walk up to the picture of the god and his artifact and everything like that. So when he does come back, I'll comment on this.
Okay, I would like you to do a spot hidden.
Both of us, or just her?
Just her.
Okay.
Actually, go ahead. Both of you can do it.
Okay.
I got an 18. I passed that.
Okay.
54. I passed.
Okay. He takes the books and puts them under his hand, and he heads towards the kitchen. Now, as he's walking towards the kitchen, you see his hand sort of reach out. He's going past the stairs, the side of the stairs, and he sort of closes something, there's a none of you noticed it. It's wood paneling, but it's like there was a door there that's not apparent, and it was open just a little, and he closes it as he goes by, and then once again after a few minutes, he comes back, and he's got a drying towel, and he's drying the pie plate.
Yeah. Again.
And he hands it to Lenore, and he's like, "It was delicious, thank you."
I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Yes.
Perhaps this weekend, if you want to come by and have dinner with me and Sissy and Charles, we would love to have you over. You know, I know you're here by yourself.
That's very nice of you, but unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to leave town for a couple of days this weekend.
Oh yeah, that
actually possibly even early. No, that's actually next week. But
why are you leaving now?
There's some problems going on in New York at the docks, and I need to go and address.
Is it a strike? Is it a strike? Those always.
No, it's just customs. Customs is always giving me problems.
I see. I'm sorry to hear. And again, with Gregory's death, this is all. I'm guessing you must be overloaded.
So she tries to get his attention, and she says, "This is an interesting piece. Can you tell me what is this all about?" And she points
what are you looking at? The painting.
The painting. Yeah.
And he's like, I should put a plaque on the wall. Everybody asked me about this. This is, let's just say he explains it all to you.
Okay. Wow, this is really interesting. I didn't know you were into. Well, of course you went to India, but.
Well, I import, so I get all these things. He shows you the purba and a few other little trinkets here and there in his little statues. And
I read an interesting pulp novel about India once. A great adventure with evil gods and strange plants.
Yeah, you can't always believe those pulp things. They've kind of over-exaggerated a lot of it all.
Well, that's why I like them.
There are no gigantic statues with big, gigantic rubies in their foreheads. It's.
Oh, that would be lovely. A nice.
The British would have probably stolen all of that anyways if it had existed.
Yeah. Again, but do you like going to India a lot?
I haven't been in a while now.
Oh, but I mean, did you enjoy your time there? I mean, it seems like you've taken a few artifacts here and there, so I assume you must have a pleasant connection to it.
Last time I went, I was going to Ceylon, which is an island off the coast in the south. But
what's there?
I've been. What's the country? Just like any other country. Lots of tea is grown there.
Oh, okay.
Tea is grown up in Darjeeling and down in the south in Ceylon. But they have all sorts of things. Every village has its own handicrafts, and you can get anything from furniture to, well, anything. I mean, it's a British colony, so it's pretty much.
It's very exotic.
Sure. So I'll ask him, what day are you planning to leave for New York?
Probably tomorrow.
Wow, that's.
I was actually going to go and talk to Robert in just a little while. And
okay.
I looked over there earlier and he wasn't home. So.
Yeah. Yes. Just remembered. Me and Lenore have been trying to do some funeral preparations for Gregory. It's been a bit difficult because his body. He apparently donated his body to science.
Does it? Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So he probably won't be a body.
Again, we're working that out.
Have you alerted?
We're thinking about he didn't have family that we knew of.
So we're trying to do our best to get
information. Like a memorial for him.
Yeah, that's it's difficult, but that's
to be perfectly honest and a little outside what I am usually socially is I don't feel like it's necessary to go to somebody's funeral that I didn't really particularly care for.
Yeah, I understand. I mean,
especially if he's got no family and who's going to be there, just you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've been neighbors for how long? I mean, just kind of out of respect.
When are you planning on doing this?
We don't know. We're still trying to figure out the body, figure out if he has any family, and so on and so forth.
Would you consider just having a barbecue and drinking a toast to him or something? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
That would be nice.
I feel that
if
would,
Robert does his usual barbecues in the next few weeks, I might consider it as good food.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
but again,
Would
it's
you guys
just
like
something.
anything to eat or drink while you're here?
No. Sissy is putting something on for dinner tonight. I mean, you're more than welcome to, to come over if you're not cooking. I know you're going to leave.
Thank you,
tomorrow.
but I've got way too much work to do this
Yeah.
evening.
Yes.
Well,
But again,
we'll get on
again,
your
I'm-
hair. I
yeah.
just wanted to return those
Again,
books.
I'm sorry that Gregory broke in twice now. Did he do any damage a second time? Because I remember, what was it? Francis telling us something about like the greenhouse. But now, how did he break in the second time?
I have no idea.
Oh.
And as you can see, he stole stuff from me, so
Wow.
he got what he wanted. He wanted to take the notes on my fertilizer. So
Well, I guess it was
Jeez.
too much for
Well,
him.
I mean.
anyway,
I guess he
if there's,
must've-
I am actually extraordinarily busy.
I understand.
If you
Yeah,
don't-
no, understandable. Again, if you need anything from any of us, let us know, and
Of
we'll try to
course.
keep you up to date with things.
All right, thank you. And he walks you to the door.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So
And
then we're going to head over to. Is everybody else congregating at Robert's?
no, I think that people went home.
We're all home. Okay. What time is it?
Probably about 7.
Yes.
All
Well,
right, so what I'm going to do is I'll head home, grab dinner, that sort of thing, and I'll turn in for the night if nobody else is doing anything.
yes. Well, I'm still trying to figure out if there's anything else I could do outside the box. Can I roll an idea roll?
No.
No.
You want me to tell you what to do?
No. It's a perfectly legitimate question.
Well, it's an idea if you're stuck in a situation where you don't know what to do. But in this case, you just
Fair enough. Fair enough.
If you got the role, I'd say go home.
Yeah. Fair enough. Very well. Again, Lenore, I think.
Shortly after you guys leave, Robert, there's a knock on your door. Your mic is off.
Sorry.
There you go.
I had yanked the door open and say, Sebastian, what do you want? Oh, hi, Bernard.
He's like, Robert, is he bothering you too? Robert, I'm gonna have to go out of town for tomorrow evening. I'm probably actually gonna leave in the morning. I got to go to New York. I'll be back on Friday. Would you just keep an eye on the place?
Sure, absolutely.
If there is any mail, you can put it inside. But I don't even know if I'll get that much mail in one day.
Sure.
But here's the key, and he hands you the key.
Yep, thank you.
And we'll see you on Friday.
Sounds good.
So he goes. And all right. Anybody else want to do anything this evening?
I think I'd probably get on the phone and start calling everybody to say, I got a key, I got a key.
Like, you got a sleeve? What?
All right. So we'll skip forward to the next morning. And right about 8 o'clock in the morning, Mister Corbitt pulls out. You see him put a suitcase in his. It's not a big suitcase. It's a little suitcase, a little traveling case, in his trunk, and get in his car and drive away. That's at what did I say? 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
say that we wait about an hour, like about 9 o'clock, before we continue on with our investigation. Also, we'll let the entire group know once we get together about that hidden panel. I see.
Yes, I'll confirm that along.
Okay.
Let's see. But what about the formula? Are we going to still do anything with that, or has that been dropped completely now?
Well, I said we look, since we're here, we start off at Mr. Corbitt's house, do a bit more thorough investigation since he's going to be gone for the entire day. And if we find nothing, well, that we hope, yeah. And we can go to the lab afterwards, if everybody's okay with that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean,
right.
I don't trust this Corbett guy anymore, so
Well,
everyone be on your toes. We might be getting set up, but hopefully,
fair enough.
hopefully he doesn't suspect us. So.
Well, it doesn't seem like that he suspected us, but he suspected Gregory, but that's because he broke in once.
Right.
So,
right.
Yes, but I don't know. Do you think he would have anything lying around that we should be worried about?
Well, only like you were saying before, that if he had direct influence over Dr. Gregory's death, I mean, there could be booby traps. There could be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dare I say we could go armed?
Well, yeah. Why not?
Very well. Let us get our belongings of what we think we need, and let us do some investigating.
Okay. You've probably all discussed this already on the phone when Robert called you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably all gonna. What are you gonna do? Meet at Robert's house and then walk across the street?
Sure. Yeah. I would like to, pack up my sawed-off shotgun.
Okay, in case there's monster in the house. Or...
A squirrel. Big squirrels.
All right. I'll let you go ahead and take your guns, even though there doesn't seem to be any reason to. But okay, you guys are scared.
Well, yeah.
You're all gonna shoot each other again. That's the way these things go.
I said I'm packing my gun in my trunk, not taking it.
It's
Well, I don't own a gun, so.
I don't own a gun either.
all right, cool. All right, so you all go over to Mister Corbitt's house and you open up the stubborn door and file inside. So now you are in Mr. Corbitt's front room.
And I remind everybody to be very careful that he's a neat freak, so if you bump something or knock something, try to pay attention to what you're doing.
Fair enough. Is there an upstairs to this house?
Oh yeah. The front. I'm pulling it up onto the screen so that you can see.
Okay. Well, I would like to check his bedroom though.
Okay. When you're on the bottom. When you walk in, there's the cloakroom, and the stairs are right in front of you going upstairs.
Now, where was that panel that you said he was going into the kitchen? Correct?
You can actually see it on the picture.
Okay, this little swingy. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So the dining room's the kitchen. It's that little staircase with the arrow, right?
Yes. And
okay.
Let me say, when you guys walk into the front room, Lenore, you look over where the panel is. Now, it's not a secret panel. It's just the door probably going downstairs to the basement. It's just been made to look like wood paneling so that it's not ugly.
Okay.
It's not sinister or anything spooky or secret. It's just you never noticed it before.
Yes. Okay.
Which is the idea. They didn't want you to notice that it was there.
Okay.
All right, so you're looking at the upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are all together. You all going to go upstairs?
Yeah, let's go upstairs.
Yep.
Fine.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a second. A lot of houses in this period in time are built very similarly. So there we go. So now it says down, but you're coming up from there. Okay. So you come up into a hallway that wraps around the staircase, and there's a door on your left, a door on your right. There's a couple other doors on your left. You can see. You're coming up towards the top of the picture. You see the little rectangle? That is where you are.
I was thinking, before we even continue further, maybe there should be somebody downstairs to keep an eye out, just in case Corbett comes back.
I could do that. I could run down. I'll be right at the bottom of the steps.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So, which room would you like to go in first? We'll say top left, top right. Those are the two closest doors.
I'll go to the top right.
I'll go with top right.
Yeah, top right.
All right. Top right is his bedroom. It's very neat. His bed is all made. It's kind of sparse, but there is a little desk. It's just a flat desk. There's not like drawers or anything. Well, there's drawers on the bottom of it. There's a picture of his wife. She looks lovely. It looks like she was quite happy. There's another small picture of her and him together on the desk. And there's the thing over to the left of the room. That's a closet, and it's got his clothes and things in it. It's got shoes down on the bottom. It's all in all, it's just a very neat and clean room.
Does he have heart-shaped underwear?
Nope, nothing like that. Just
so
wears boxers.
I'm just looking at the picture. I'm like, well, that was his wife. I guess he, really did love her.
They turn the picture over to see if there's anything written on the back of the photo itself.
No, nothing.
Yes, Bernard, get your ass off the couch. Sincerely, your wife. Beautiful.
Did you, So.
I'll go to the left room then.
I'm sorry?
The top left room. I'll check that next.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, there's nothing in particular in this room.
Is there anything
that you notice?
Is there anything in the drawers? Like if I open up the drawer, is there anything I see in there?
There's socks in one drawer and.
I'm talking about his desk drawer. I'm talking about his desk.
His desk drawer. Some pencils and some paper.
Nefarious. Only a communist uses unraced pencils. Unracer tip pencils.
You keep bringing up communists a lot.
I know. It's just a time period. It's my running gag of this episode. Anyways, all right. So let's move on, I guess.
Okay. You go across the hall, and the first door on the top left, it looks like it is a little study. There's a desk. There's a shelf across above the desk with books on it. There's writing pad and pencils in a little pencil holder, and a light. Although the room at the moment is brightly lit because the sun's coming through the windows. Other than that, once again, it's very neat and clean. What would you like to do?
Any interesting books or notes that you can find?
Yeah, I would like to look at those as well.
All right. The first book. Just a second.
It's How to Make Poisons for Dummies. Followed by Volume 2 on hallucinogenics and you. And then there's the third one, being a cultist. The first steps.
All right. Oops, that's the wrong page. What happened to 13?
And then there's a secret stack of pulp novels that he's been reading that I didn't know he was a fan of.
Okay. The first book that you find is it's well bound, and it's missing. Hold on, just one second. Give me just a moment. If you guys want to take a 2-minute break.
Fair enough. So, Lenore,
I
how have
need
you been
to
doing?
take that off.
Well, I'm doing well. Excited for next month. Charles and I are finally going to get married.
Oh,
course.
nice.
Of course, everyone here is invited.
Yay! Got a honeymoon planned?
We are thinking about heading to Scotland.
Oh, nice. I remember hearing about a place called Castle McCloud. I heard it's very nice. Do you want me to look after Sissy for you? I mean, or unless she's coming with you, I don't know if that's
Well,
okay.
she's not coming. Why was she coming to my honeymoon?
That's why
Perhaps you and Sissy can. Perhaps you can take her out and you guys can get study and.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Again, I guess I gotta get out of my house and stop reading so many pulp novels per day. Yeah, I've been reading Tarzan. Do you think she likes Tarzan? I got a new edition.
She's into all that pulp novels that you like.
Yes, beautiful girl. Beautiful girl.
All right, guys. Let's see.
And there comes an end to our glorious role-playing.
The first book is written by Mr. James Patterson, and the name of the book is Magic and Alchemy.
So Mr. Corbett was so Bernard was an alchemist. Who would have guessed? Perhaps he knows Fu Manchu.
The second book is a bit heftier, and it is Joseph Wen's True Magic.
I wonder if it teaches you how to do those, how to pull a rabbit out of a hat.
The third book does not have a title on the spine, and it looks like it's covered in snakeskin.
Yoink.
Hey,
Yoink.
So
after that, there are a whole bunch of volumes that are all the same, one after the other.
I'll look at the snakeskin one.
Yeah, I want to look at that one.
Let's look at that one.
The snakeskin one has some sort of text on the front that you don't recognize. It looks like a line with squiggles underneath. And when you open it up, all of the text is like that. It's lines with squiggles underneath them.
Sanskrit, perhaps? Hindu?
That's probably what it is. It's in Sanskrit.
Sanskrit.
Yes. Interesting. I wonder. Do we know how long Mr. Corbett's going to be out for?
Till tomorrow.
According to him.
Yes, according to him. If we could get this translated, I mean, maybe if you write down a few.
It would take weeks to translate that. It's a big book.
Maybe copy a few experts. Is there any pages that look like he's been looking at it intensively?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. The title. That's a good idea. Could we copy perhaps the way the title's been written?
If that's what you want to do.
I do.
Okay.
Maybe you can find a volume.
You What do you copy this on?
My handy dandy notebook.
What notebook?
My tiny pocket notebook I keep.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to make a pulp radio station, so I've been keeping contacts and stuff. Come on, keep up.
All right. I believe you. It didn't just materialize in your pocket.
Yes, teleport view.
All right. You write down the symbols.
All right.
Now, there are 14 little black volumes that follow, and the titles written on them are 1909, 1910, 1911, 1912, 1913, all the way up to 1923.
I'll open up the one that says 1923.
Okay. These are journals.
Oh.
Okay. Now, this is what I would like to do. We can assume, since there's so many of them, that you guys would divide them up and look through them, if that's probably
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. You can assume that each one would take you about a half an hour to look through. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Where'd Corey go? Is Corey there?
I'm here.
Oh, you guys are all well. Robert's downstairs, but you guys can call him. Let's assume that it would take you about an hour and a half for you to all read through the volumes that you've taken to read through, and that you would constantly be going, oh, you guys got to hear this. So what we'll do is we'll put them all in chronological order, and we'll read through them. You guys can take turns. You're not going to have to read the entire thing, but I do have. So let's say who has volume 1.
I'll have volume 1 to whatever.
So volume 1 to 5, I get volume 6 to 7.
We won't do it that way. We'll just go down the line, and each of you can read part of what there is.
Okay.
So who's going to read? Oops. Who's going to read the first part? 1909.
I will.
All right. You are going to read 1909. Can you read that?
Yeah, I can read it. September 10th. Another embarrassing memory lapse today. This journal should help me deal with the problem. September 13th. I have had Mother sign the last of the legal papers that transfer ownership of Corbett Importers of America over to myself. She seems to be doing well in the new nursing home, and I hope that they can give her the treatment and attention she needs. I am afraid that her condition continues to decline rapidly. The death of father seems to have unhinged her mind. If she knew my role in his death, although I don't in the least feel responsible, I'm sure it would kill her. She would never understand the power of my new lord, Ramasekva. If only she had been there and experienced those moments on the mountain when he appeared in all of his terrible magnificence. He spoke with me and he left his mark upon my heart and soul. Then he took father and the two became one before devouring him. Ramasekva removed my father's head and drank down his soul. October 29th. I've met a charming young woman at St. Paul's Ice Cream Social. Her name is, I can't read that, is Lynn?
Lynn Myers.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I have arranged to take her to the picnic next week. I am sure my lord would approve of her. December 12th. Spent 30 hours in ceremony and communed with Ramasekva as he wants to bridge to the world and needs my help. I agreed. My studies have shown that Ramasekva is obscure Azora an East Indian demon, Azura, are said to be older gods, the one who ruled before coming of Shiva. Certain things spoke of in Ween's book led me to believe that there might be a link called Yog-Sothoth.
What's this Yog-Sothoth fellow?
I'm more concerned about this Skiva who drank down his father's soul and tore his head off. And, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
All right. Okay, go ahead.
Well, if what he's again, I don't perhaps think that perhaps a literal god drank his soul father, but he appears to take some kind of part in his father's death, and he said a more personal part. So I don't think it was just an accident.
Hmm.
Well,
Okay, let's go on. Okay, go ahead.
No, I said I knew that there was something going on that happened up on that mountain, and now that there's proof now.
Yeah, but again, at the same time, but we don't know exactly what happened. Did Corbett just kill him, or did something actually else happen that because he's talking about a god? Why would he be talking about this god as if it was some real entity?
Maybe it is.
Perhaps it is. Who's to say that?
Jeff, you're next on the list. I mean, Robert.
He's... No.
You've got the next year, which is 1910.
Wait, is that me or who had a 1910?
Well, Robert's next on my list.
I thought he was...
I thought Robert was downstairs. Okay.
Oh, Robert is downstairs, so... Well, did you guys call him up when you found all the books?
Yeah, we called him.
Okay, so fair enough, okay.
January 10th, I found myself wanting to make Lynn my wife and have sealed the thought by proposing to her. She accepted, and we have set the date of marriage for March 9th of this year. Ramasekva assures me the time is right. March 13th, have returned from our honeymoon. Lynn and I have decided to keep the family place as it is excellent for raising children. In May, all being well, Lynn will accompany me on my trip to Ceylon for a new herbal tea supply. This may be my last trip out of the country for a while. A man who plans a family must be willing to settle down a bit. April 1st, had to send Lynn to visit her mother while I cast the ceremony. I don't believe she is ready to understand yet. Ramasekva has told me he wants a union of flesh. He demands the union be made with my wife. I am to wait 13 days, cast another, easier ceremony, and then wait. Ramasekva is to take my place. April 14th, cast the ceremony this morning, and Ramasekva came. I waited in the basement while he visited Lynn for several hours. She seems to suspect nothing. July 19th, have told my wife to remain in bed throughout the day as she has taken ill from her pregnancy. I took the opportunity to contact Ramasekva. I am to deliver the child myself at home. My master has directed me to raise this child as if it were my own. November 21st. Horror of horrors. My life is in ashes. Poor Lynn went into labor today, and in the course of giving birth to the child, she expired despite all I did to try to save her. Nurse Dunlap blundered into the room at the wrong moment, and when she saw the child, she lost her mind and fainted. In trying to take care of her, I may have neglected Lynn at a critical moment. At any rate, she is gone, and I blame myself. A second child, a boy, was born dead, and I have turned both bodies over to the funeral home. The child of Ramasekva I have concealed in the basement. The thing is limbless and appears to have trouble breathing. I don't think it will live for very long. November 25th, the funeral for Lynn and the child was held. Her parents were heartbroken and felt pity for me. I later consoled them and promised to stay in touch. Later, I could stop crying. November 26th.
I couldn't stop crying.
Oh, I couldn't stop. November 26th. The ceremony for Ramasekva brought him forth to explain the child. He said the thing would live and that I am to spend the next 10 years preparing for a time when it would need me. When the time comes, I am to equip it for life on earth. It will be given limbs and lungs. I am not to contact Ramasekva until 10 years and a day have elapsed. December 14th. I have found someone to help me, a man named Randolph Tomaszowski.
I knew it.
He works at the local hospital and assures me that he can supply me with the parts necessary to the experiments I need to conduct over the next few years. He is an unsavory type, but I need his help. I have agreed to supply him with a small amount of the drugs he desires, and he, in return, will try to fill my requests. Perhaps through association with myself, he will find a way to better himself. He seems a particularly irreligious and bitter man. Next week I shall make my first trip to the dump and see what my confederate has been able to find for me. The experiment should prove a challenge, but I have every confidence that I can learn, especially with my Lord Ramasekva's guidance.
Okay, in the subsequent journals from 1911 to 1921, nothing of importance is included. In this time period, the journals cover 3 trips to the east, acquisitions of unusual orchids and other botanical curiosities, the meeting of several old friends, work matters and various accounts of mundane purchases, and such. Experiments are occasionally mentioned, but Corbett does not elaborate. So next, do you guys want to discuss before you go to the next one?
Well, clearly I was right about the connection between him and Tomaszowski.
Good call.
Yeah. Still interesting.
Yes, but clearly there's something that's going on. He said that there's a child in the basement. I mean, he's talking about worshiping a god. He said the woman said the child was born without a face. And you, Robert, you saw him bring a hand in. And
Right.
he said he's been collecting hands.
Right.
Shall we go on?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
This will be 1922, last year.
So I'll read this.
And Patrick. This one's not a long one though. Let's see. Where is it?
Fine, I'll get the shortest one. Does he mention us in any of the journals?
Not yet.
I told you we're going to read them through. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So Journal 13, 1922, November 25th. The child grows large, and the time has come. Entered into communion with Ramavaska. He told me when the spring has arrived, I am to search out fresh limbs and organs to be added to the creature. The time for experimenting is now over. As the thing is still a child, I will use only the limbs and organs of children. My experiments show that the more useful parts adapt much better than the older ones. Any parts that are unstable, I am directed to feed to the child. Ramaska wants to develop a taste for such things and says now is the time for such growing.
Wow. Some freaky stuff here.
Mhm.
I mean, it sounds like he's like building this child from parts, and it's growing.
Like some kind of Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready for the last journal. Who's next on the list? I think it's. Hold on. Is it Riley? That's what it looks like to be Riley.
Okay.
Let's see. We'll probably split this between you and Wayne. So.
Okay. Okay. March 19th. Tomaszowski says I am asking too much of him and claims that he is having difficulty supplying me with parts. The needs of the child increase all the time, and I have boosted again the strength of the drug I give the man, hoping that it will entice him to be more cooperative. I fear, however, that the drug simply exacerbates his derangement. I must admit to feeling guilt. Aiding and abetting his false beliefs seems somehow wrong. However, telling him the truth would only serve to further unhinge his mind. I will continue the pretense of believing in his master. I value the services of Tomaszowski renders too much to risk further damage to his grasp on reality. Most of the child's organs are now in place and a few limbs have been attached. The grafts have healed nicely. My years of experimenting are paying off. March 28, April 8, April 11, April 19, May 14, and May 25th. These dates contain similar statements to the above. The increasing growth rate of the child thing, which he now called Manbagari, necessitating necessitating increasingly frequent trips to the garbage dump is a source of surprise and pleasure for Corbett. June 16th. Hey, my birthday. Barbecue at Robert's. Nice food. Got upset with the news about Tomaszewski. We'll have to have a chat with him. Apparently he was questioned about the animal slings and he never said a goddamn thing to me about it. June 18th. I am not a man who enjoys confrontation, but I felt it necessary to remind Tomaszewski how the Dark Lord would not be pleased and how his plans would not come to fruition if he got caught. I made the threat seem quite real, told him that a horrible fate awaited him if he fucked up, to use his own vulgarity, and reduced him nearly to tears. Odd to see such a tough little thug like him cry, but I think he got the message. June 21st. Caught Dr. Hall and Frenchie out near the greenhouse. Hall made a ridiculous excuse about prowlers and I didn't call him on it, but I did send him home. He better not break into my greenhouse or he may get a nasty surprise from my Morton carnatum purpurea.
Anybody know Latin?
Mortimus, it means death. Death, right?
Does your character know Latin?
No, but I...
It looks like a Harry Potter spell.
Again, I just think Morden means kind of death something, so I don't know what the...
Actually, I put 1 point into Latin.
0-1, baby.
Yeah. Well, the chemist might know more, or the...
I mean, I can roll the chemistry.
Hey, can I roll for pulp novels to see if I've ever heard of it?
No, you've never heard of it.
But my pulp novels roll.
Your pulp novels can't read things that don't exist for anybody else. Anyways. All right, one more. I think one more, maybe two more. I gotta stop for a second, and then come back.
Well, clearly, Tomaszewski was fearful. That's why he ran away from us. That's why it ended with his death.
This is the same year, but let's let Wayne read this one. This is the last of the journal.
All right. June 25th. Dr. Hall continues to snoop. Robert and some of the others dropped by claiming interest in my imports. I noticed at the time that Hall was not with them. Then decided that the best course of action was to simply share with him my research. While I was gathering my notes from upstairs in the lab, I found the basement door to be jammed. Removing the doorknob, I found more evidence that Hall attempted to break into my home, probably while the others were visiting me at work.
Oh.
I doubt seriously that the others had any knowledge of Hall's actions. I was quite upset at the possibility of Hall disturbing Manbagari.
Manbagari.
Okay, Manbagari. I knew something had to be done. Later, I got a knock at my door from the police detective. Apparently, Dr. Hall had a heart attack. That's when I noticed that the stack of binders was missing. Hall must have stolen them. June 26th. Tomaszewski didn't show for our usual rendezvous. That's when I found out that he was dead.
This is yesterday, by the way.
Okay. That's when I found out he was dead. Fell out of the window while cleaning. What the hell am I going to do without parts? Came home and got a visit from Robert and William. They seemed concerned for my welfare. There are good people in the world. Things got a little personal when we talked about Dad and Lynn. But then they started talking about goddamn Tomaszewski. I didn't let on why I was really upset. I had to get them out of there. I'm sure that it was just a coincidence. These people do like to gossip about the news, not realizing how close they were. As soon as they were gone, I went to the dump in the hopes that Tomaszewski had left me one last package, but nothing. Shit. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I think I might have to find my own parts. Maybe in New York.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he went to New York.
And that's why he went through opposite way, because he was going to the dump.
Yes. So clearly, I was right. Tomaszewski was connected to Thomas Oscar's character Corbett. He said he didn't kill, Gregory. I'm sure he did.
Well,
I mean,
let me ask you this. If you murdered someone, would you write it in your own journal? In a journal that you would leave out for nosy neighbors to walk in and snoop through?
fair enough. But would you leave in the part of your god and you're killing your father and a child born in the basement?
Well, it could be writings of a madman. Or it could be some fiction that he's writing. He can explain that away. But to deliberately say, oh, I had to take care of Dr. Hall, that would implicate him in a murder.
Fair enough. Well, okay. Regardless, clearly, Mr. Corbitt has some far sinister motives than we thought.
Shall we go downstairs to the basement to see?
Hang on. Can I look at the alchemy volumes really quick? Sorry, Tom? Tom, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean James Patterson's Magic and Alchemy?
Yeah. Let's look around the top first thoroughly.
Okay, well, when you look in these books, the first thing that you notice is it's a library book.
Huh.
It's got the little pocket in the front.
Yeah, I worked at the library, so I would know.
Yeah. It looks like, it doesn't look unusual or anything.
Yeah. I mean,
Now, the second book written by Joseph Wen, that looks like a really old book. The date on the inside is 1793.
Christ. Looking into it, is it in English?
Yes.
Uh-huh. What can I glance from it?
You can't glance from it. I mean, it's all text. It would take you weeks to read. You can see that it's talking about magical lore and witches and warlocks and.
What's the name of it?
I didn't actually write it down.
I'll call it Magic Book number 1.
True Magic.
True Magic. That's right.
Okay.
True Magic.
All right. I write down that and the author's name. Okay. Okay. So what else is there? What else is there that we haven't looked at in this house?
Hold on.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. Did we look at his desk yet? Like into his desk?
You can look into his desk. It's more stationary. Things like that.
Okay. Well, so nothing inside?
Yeah.
No drawers?
Well, you can do a spot hidden.
I would like to do so. Doop.
Can you guys see the second floor? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
26. Pass.
You don't see anything.
All right. So, should we just go down the line of the next room over?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go to the next room and open the door. It's completely empty. There's nothing in this room.
Like, is there any dust?
No, it's pretty clean, but there's no furniture or anything in the room.
Okay.
It looks like it might have been a guest bedroom, but it's not. It's not got any furnishings.
I see.
We'll check out the other two rooms.
Okay, the next one down does have a bed in it and a little bureau to put clothes, but it is also completely empty. There's no sheets on the bed. There are pillows, but there's no covers on the pillows.
Probably under a guest room bed.
The closet that's in that room actually does have a stack of sheets and pillowcases. So. if he needed to make up a guest room, I suppose that would work.
In the other rooms, or
the thing on the very bottom in the center is a laundry closet. There's towels and other various things like that. Now, when you're now moving towards the right, on the upper side is a bathroom, and the final bedroom is a nursery. There is an old crib in the room, and of all the rooms, this room is filthy. It hasn't been cleaned in 14 or 12 years.
Jeez. So so I'm kind of looking like, so all this time, Corbett kept the nursery.
But he didn't go in there.
Yeah, I know. It's I think the fact that he didn't get the child.
You skipped on that. I didn't hear you.
I was just saying, maybe the fact of losing his wife and not getting the child that he wanted hurt him.
Well, his journal did say that all he could do was cry and cry.
I know. Yeah. I'm saying, that for all intents and purposes, that, this man, sinister as he may be, I think is more broken than we thought.
All right. Well, let's. Time is ticking. Let's head downstairs.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do a listen roll.
Sure.
All of you.
Oh boy.
Listen. 75 is my listen.
Nope. Didn't pass that.
Nope. I passed.
I think I make it.
How well did you pass? Did you come close or?
Like 50. So, and mine is 75. So.
I just barely made it.
You just barely made it. So you all just barely made it?
I did not make
I
it.
didn't barely make it. I got pretty good.
Nobody got a hard roll.
I got 50 over. I got 75 is my listen. I got 50.
No, so you okay? You didn't get half. All right. So you're heading back downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that we should call it that, and we will have one more week of this game. Because it is 10:57.
Well, we just burn the house down and we're done.
Yep. I'm okay with some arson.
Yes.
Except for that insane curiosity that you...
I know. It's going to be a tough decision to make.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, investigators, for your participation, and thanks to all our viewers for watching. We hope you enjoyed our game session. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. It really helps us. Please tune in next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for probably the final episode of Mister Corbitt. Until next time, always remember, if there's no light left to guide your path, your only choice is to venture into the darkness. Good night, and good gaming.